Welcome back to Film-Studio-Taku-Japan. I am here in Capture One, and I'm going to be showing you again one of those wonderful things about Darktable that really just, I think, puts a lot of programs to shame. But this is really not to trash Capture One, because the thing is, I've been working in Capture One today, and I think it's just more like this is what Capture One should be doing, kind of thing. And who knows? Maybe they have. I've been using an older version of Capture One, so maybe they've updated this since. But what we're going to be doing here today is first just let me show you. I have here this photo that I've done very little with, but basically here this is just the raw file from my last visit to the snow monkeys at the beginning of March, and or middle of March actually, 2025. And all I'm doing is I'm going to apply some adjustments that I took from another photo, and this is not going to look good, you see. But what I've done there is I've turned off all the little masks and stuff I had on, but basically I'm just raising the shadows and exposure, excuse me, and the shadows. And I know this looks very, very sharp, and that's because I have the structure very, very high up, which I'm actually okay with for the moment because it really highlights these little snowflakes back here. But as I was working with this file, I had the vignetting all the way down um, because the other file I was working with had a lot. I wanted to really isolate the subject. Um, but as okay, I'm going to turn that back up, but it's brightening it up too much in here. But what I noticed right away was, look at all this beautiful snowflake bouquet hiding behind his head. And this is a he. This is actually the alpha male of the group. I won't say how I know that, but it's, let's just say not PG-13, beyond PG-13. Yeah, it's pretty amusing actually, but tourists were pretty shocked, some of them. He was making the rounds. Let's just say that he was making the rounds in the onsen in the hot spring. It was pretty. I didn't even realize I was taking photos of him, and I didn't realize what was going on because I was close up like this. But this photo, I don't believe making the rounds. But anyways, so either way, you can see I'm just kind of working this photo a little bit. There's too much saturation as is, but there's some beautiful color. This color back here is likely a person on the other side of the onsen. This color, honestly, I don't know, but if it's a person, I don't mind it because it's some really nice blue if I tone it down just a little bit. You got to be careful though because he gets toned down in the process. It's one of those things where what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be exporting this and working it in Capture or in Darktable. So I want to keep as much of it as I can. Now I could export this as a TIFF file, and likely that's what I'm going to be doing later. But for this tutorial, I really just want to stick with the JPEG and keep things snappy. It would likely be fairly snappy, but the other thing too is I'm running out of hard drive space, and the TIFF files are huge. So right now I'm just doing it this way. So right now I'm pretty happy with that right there. You could argue there's too much structure or detail. I think that a lot of people would argue the opposite. I'm kind of on the fence there, honestly. Um, I like it though. Overall, I like this image, but it's a little bit too bright for me. I don't like to do these. It's something that actually bothers me a little bit. Sorry to others out there who have gone to the snow monkeys. I don't know where it started exactly, but a lot of snow monkey photos are overexposed and make them look whiter than they are. They're not really this color. They have a little bit gray. Some of them are more gray than others, especially if they're older. But generally speaking, they have a lot more warm tones in there. Now, not as warm as this. This was just me having trouble with my white balance this day. There was a lot of changes to the light. It was a snowstorm, but every now and then the sun would peek out, and also it's reflecting off of hills, and also yeah, the onsen itself. So anyways, So at this point though, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you again the vignetting and show you what the problem here is. Now see, I would love to darken up this area down here, and in the process it even kind of darkens around the edges of his fur, gives him more dimensionality, but what happens really quickly is I lose my beautiful bouquet back here. Now I mean this is okay at that level, and I could do a mask in here to darken this. But I really want, if you look, when I bring it up, you see those like bigger blobs and stuff back in there. I really want to work with those and just see what I can accomplish. Now I don't want to overly brighten anything or overexpose anything. You can check here with our exposure settings. The blue means it's in that area is underexposed, but we're okay with that. We could play with his iris right now, but there's really no need to it. Something also I'll note is in Darktable, the exposure meter is very different. It doesn't register as sensitively as Capture One. I'm sure there's a setting I can change in Capture One, but I'm not doing that right now either. We're going to get to the point. Try to keep this one under 15 minutes. Yeah. I keep recording these and then I I don't know if it's really interesting. So let me know if these are interesting, because it's one of those things where how do I create content when all I'm doing for like the last year is working on my website and editing photos? I thought, oh, okay, I can do some tutorials, but I'm definitely an outside the box tutorial person because I don't edit the way a lot of people edit. I do a lot of things by feel, more than I guess we'll say technical know-how. I do understand a lot of this, but at the same time, some of it is not. This is already exported. I did export this earlier, and I just remembered at this moment. So this is basically the same image you see. It's a little bit desaturated, maybe in comparison. And this is here in Darktable. What I'm just going to show you right away is why the vignetting tool in Darktable is vastly superior to Capture One. Flip back real quick just to show you that. Capture One, the vignetting, you have a mount, you have circle on crop, and elliptical, or circular on crop and elliptical. All that does is it makes it more elliptical, like oval shape versus circular shape vignette pattern. And it's useful in a lot of situations, or you can just do full on circle. You're not even seeing it here because it's just well, because we don't have this on. Sorry, we don't have this turned down. Let's do that real quick. Okay, so circular on crop, that means it's just going to follow any crop you do. There's no crop here. This is elliptical. You can see it's just different pattern. Going into Darktable, very similar, except for look at this. Oh, we can make our own. We can control it. We can actually choose exactly where we want this to be, and going in here, making it smaller. Now we can start dragging this top point. You can make your, like, let's say you just wanted an image where you just want the object's eyes to be highlighted. This is a nice, cheat's the wrong word, we'll call it a shortcut for a lot of situations where maybe you want to mask something out, but you want to do it quickly and you don't necessarily need a complex mask. Yeah, it's really, really cool. We'll reset it real quick. And now what we're going to do here, because we're allowed to do that now, as you might have already guessed, what that means, you know, I would take it over this way, you know, that whole left side is dark, but I take it over here, I want that bokeh, right? And I want to make this dark down here, and look at that, there it is. That's essentially it right there. We can play around now here with the fall off, the vertical. What I want to do is I want to make sure the snowflakes around his head are getting caught by the light. And I do also want to, if possible, get these snowflakes in the upper part a little bit caught by the light. Now we can always work a little bit light in with a mask or something, or even a gradient filter later. But let's look already what we have here, okay? So we turn that off. You know, here's what we had accomplished in Capture One, and here's what we're able to accomplish here. Now, you may have a preference for the Capture One look at the moment, but if you look here now, we can start really, really playing with this. not just this, but now the brightness. So we can take the brightness down around the edges, keep repositioning to your taste, play with the saturation, so you get around the edges where the actual vignette is. You can pull in more saturation, which I hadn't actually done that yet, but if you look, because apparently there is some blue in this area, that when I do this, it pulls it out a little bit, and that kind of actually balances the whole image a little bit more. I meant to say at the beginning, by the way, this image may or may not make it on my site. It's just something I was playing with because I was going down just copying and pasting settings, and I got to this one, and anyways, I noticed that bokeh, and I knew that I was going to have to take it into Darktable, and I've been meaning to put another video out. I thought this might be a good one here. I was actually going to do another, actually, let me correct that. I did do another tutorial for Dehancer, but I was having some trouble. I was trying to do a tutorial with a TIFF again because I changed some settings and I thought it would work better, but TIFFs are still just a little bit too much for when I'm doing OBS Studio and Dehancer at the same time. So I'll do a JPEG tutorial soon. You can tell I'm losing my voice. It's a little bit of a cold right now, so if it doesn't happen the next day or two, it'll happen soon. Because I am really enjoying Dehancer, and I feel a little bit bad because they gave me the software, and like if it was a company that had been around for a long time, like Capture One or someone, and they gave me the software, I wouldn't feel so bad. But because Dehancer is relatively unknown in the mainstream still, I feel like they deserve it because they've earned it, and I want to help promote what they're doing there because they're doing some amazing work. But anyways, so here we go. Again, we'll care real quickly. There's our Capture One image. There's our Darktable. It might seem subtle to some, but again, we're helping to frame him a little bit better while maintaining this bokeh back here, and we can, like I said, we can control the brightness. We can get more or less back in. We can pull it over more to the here if we want to brighten up that whole area here. And again, the fact that you can just change the shape of your circle is really, really helpful. So just to round this out, let's do just a little bit more here in Darktable. We'll put a little Velvia on there to just make him pop out against the blue even more. We can go strength really high if we really want something really saturated, but that's lately not my taste. I like to keep things a little bit more subdued. You can get a little bit more red in his face by changing the mid-tone bias down a little bit. I want to keep the shadows though. See, if I go too high, he loses a little bit of the shadows around his eyes. So right about there, maybe. It's pretty good. Not bad. Okay. There's so much you can play with here in Capture One, just for fun. Monochrome, boom. But yeah, and there's also Velvia here. It's going to be a little bit overkill right now with both of them on. Which do you like better? That's the built-in one or my custom? They're both good, but I'm going to stick with my custom because it's, again, a little bit subdued comparatively. So we can go in local contrast, but that's silly because we already put a lot of contrast, except for we can actually slide these around and get a little bit maybe more soft feeling, more reach out and touch someone feeling. Like when I look at the image when I'm editing it and I start to feel like I can actually feel this fur, that's when I know I'm on the right track. Yes, that's very subtle, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes you edit and you're like, it's not a mistake I used to make a long time ago, is you're adjusting something because you want to make it look different, and you do all your adjustments and you're like, okay, let's see, how was that to the original? And then you turn it off, and lo and behold, there's like virtually no difference, or sometimes no difference. That's not necessarily a bad thing. that's a sign that you're actually getting in touch with the look that you're going for, and it's less about the controls and more about your mind, I guess. That's probably not the best way to word it, but basically I'm saying that you're starting to know the look you're going for, and you're starting to recognize that um, you're maybe what I'm trying to say is once you realize that that's okay, that the controls didn't change anything, that's when you're getting more comfortable with the look you're going for and worrying less about always making it look better. Because sometimes you keep trying to make it look better and better and better, and before you know it, you've over sharpened the shit out of it, oversaturated the shit out of it, or going the opposite direction, like made it way too soft or something. This is a tone curve I've actually been playing with for a while here. It's just there's a few variations of it. It tends to work really well on a lot of different images. This is the most subtle, but this one's got some kind of funky, it brings some interesting highlights into the image, which can look cool. Like I'm not hitting on the image right there. If we go here, it's almost the same. If we go to this one, this is kind of the most extreme as far as popping it. Really not seeing there. What did I do? Did I just do something wrong? I didn't see a difference that time. There, okay, that's a clear difference there. Okay, not sure what I did there. We'll watch it back and I'll probably see it. Sometimes Darktable just kind of is glitchy, but never to the point where like it really gives problems. Like way back in the day when I had a weaker computer, it would crash it sometimes. Like right there, it didn't actually change it, or it's just so subtle that I didn't notice it. So I'm between the center one and the first one. This one or this one. Let's go one more time to the third one. Yeah, definitely not that one. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that look there. Okay. I almost never mess with shadows and highlights in Darktable. I'm just going to show you really quickly, though you can, and this is muscle memory right here. It's going to look like poop for a second. This is a place where very often I come, just like I was talking about, where I do some adjustments, and then after all is said and done, I'm like, well, let's see what it looks like, and it looks exactly the same as what I was at before that. Okay. This time I got it just exactly what I wanted though. So still subtle, but that's not bad. I think for now we'll call that quits. I'm not sure if that was under 15 minutes, but yeah, not bad. Just for fun, negative. All right, maybe that should be the thumbnail. But look at all that detail. That's by the way, if you ever want to know how much detail is in a cap or in a GFX 100S file, turn on the negative feature in Darktable and just start going into the details. It's crazy, you know. Like these are the snowflakes, the black spots. You know, it's just crazy. Yeah, I've done some really cool images with like fireworks doing this effect because all the little hot spots of the fireworks turn black like this, and it looks really cool. All right, enough of that silliness. All right, I like it enough that I will export it and I'll save this image, but for now, thank you for watching Film Studio Taku Japan, aka filmstudiojapan.com. Please do check out my website, filmstudiojapan.com. I'm going to be uploading, boom, this one in a very short time. This is the one I've been working on today. I'll probably be actually there. This is the final product. That one was something else. It's coming, so keep your eye out for this one. This is going to be almost definitely they're going to be a series because I've got a bunch of this duo. Each one as great as the last. Just these expressions on their faces are amazing. And what I think I'm going to be doing is something like limited runs of like 10. Some might be one-offs. For the 10s, I'm going to actually do them a lot cheaper than most of my works. for just a few of them, because I really want to just see how the reaction is to more limited edition runs. Usually I do like between 20 and 50 on my limited editions, but I want to see if I just do like 10 and offer some introductory type things, like where it's as soon as the new releases come out, like, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly yet, so don't quote me on this, but maybe like 30% off or something like that. So just to see what happens here, get a little bit of momentum on my site. I do get sales, but I would like to see more sales, and I honestly would rather sell my stuff a little cheaper and just have more consistent sales than sell several, for a lot of money, if you know what I'm saying. Partially because I just feel more financial stability, and partially because it's more exciting. It's more exciting if you see more sales, but I'm keeping told, like, don't underprice your work, don't underprice your work. And when you're working with a medium format, that's the thing that galleries, you have to be careful. Galleries want you to sell things for the same price basically as they're charging, so I have to be really careful how I do this. But at the moment, I don't have active galleries happening right now, so summertime is usually when I do that, so we'll see. Anyways, I've rambled on enough. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and please do subscribe and hit that like button. Peace.